think it's safe to assume most people have some kind of hobby, whether it's collecting Pokemon cards, going to the gym, crocheting, rock climbing, or even brain rotting on Instagram Reels if that counts as a hobby. And I too have a hobby. It just happens to be my car. Is that weird? And I honestly can't remember nor pinpoint exactly when all this started. My infatuation, my love, and my appreciation for these machines. You have sheet metal, throw in some blocks of metal, rubber, liquid chemicals, some cloth, carpet, and there you have it, a car. But to some people, in fact, probably to most people, a car is just a tool to make life more convenient, like a microwave, a washing machine, or a printer. But to me and a handful of other people, a car is much more than that. A car to most people is just another tool to get from point A to point B and sometimes carry some groceries and that's it. But to some people, including myself, there's a sense of identity behind a car. And I believe that's true to a degree even for non-car people. That's why when they go buy a car, sometimes people go with a coupe or a SUV or they go all electric. And to go even further, they're then like, I only want a German car, like a Mercedes or a BMW, or they're like, it has to be American, like a Ford or a Chevy or a Jeep. And they're like, oh, I don't want silver, I don't want red, or you're like me where I'm like, for this car, it had to be blue. And to go one step even further, when they get the car, they're then like adding their own little personal touches to it. And now if we bring it to the car community, there's definitely a sense of identity because there's so many different types of car people. We have the lowriders, the lifted truck people, rolling coal, the camber guys, the drift cars, and so much more. There's definitely a point where it transcends from it being just a car and is part of your identity, and modding it is a form of artistic expression. Similar to like the clothes you wear, like why did I buy this hoodie over that one? Why did I buy these shoes over that one? Why the Bred 11s over Air Force Ones, right? And my car here is definitely part of my identity. It feels like my car and I just go hand in hand. And it's also kind of like my way of saying to the world, like, well, this is what I like, here's my masterpiece, or it's on its way to become a masterpiece. As I modify it, feel free to judge me on it. They say as an adult, it can be pretty difficult to make friends because growing up, you're thrown in this building with other kids for like 5 days a week, 8 hours a day for like 18 years. And after that, it's kind of like that's it. I mean, you have work, but that's like a 50-50 because you might just not have anything in common with your coworker other than work. And how often do people really like their coworkers? And I think I've been pretty lucky where I don't really have that problem because I've made some of my closest friends through cars. Like my friend Richard back in New York drives the purple R34 GTT. And I met him because I caught him washing his car in the parking lot one day and I was like, hey, is that a GTR? Yeah, where'd you get it? This and that. And he was explaining it to me. And then turns out he was a pretty cool dude. And then now he's one of my closest friends to this day. Or when I first moved here to the West Coast, not knowing anyone at all, because all my friends, all my school friends, all my car friends were on the other side of the country in the East Coast. And the first group of people I met were through cars, where I was getting food one day and they were all just parked up in the parking lot with their hoods open, looking at stuff, and I was just like, hey, what are you guys looking at? I'm just curious, and then that was it. Then a week later, I saw them at another meeting. I was like, hey, I think I know you guys. I saw you guys last week, and we got to chatting, and that's it. And then they welcomed me into their group of friends and then introduced me to more other car people, and then now we hang out like weekly and go into car meets and stuff. And as people, I think it's pretty important to be social, to have a tribe, and the car community is one big one. And I don't know how to describe it, but sometimes I just see cars on the road and I just know, oh, that person is into cars. And I wave or I rev my engine or something to kind of say hi. And that kind of brings me back to my first point where my car is part of my identity. It's kind of like a first impression. And when I meet someone, it's like, well, here it is. Do you like it? And obviously this isn't specific just to cars. It can be anything like Magic the Gathering, a book club, or sneakers, or any form of hobby. Mine just happens to be cars because that's just what I'm into.